In today's video, we'll be going over Peyton Royce's new comments as well as everything Vince McMahon revealed about WWE's immediate future. Let's get into it. So the status of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay still remains as a mystery. We covered this story a few months ago, back when the news first got out about the IIconics possibly getting repackaged. Not much was known at the time, but the IIconics just disappeared from WWE television, and this had fans concerned. The IIconics first came onto the main roster scene in 2018, and you can go back and rewatch their debut to see how much potential and hype was there at the time. The crowd reaction was absolutely amazing, and they got a huge pop. Fans already knew who they were, thanks to them really making a name for themselves over in NXT. Their debut was nearly perfect. They both cut their promos on Charlotte, and they laid Charlotte out as well. It was a perfect and impactful way to introduce them on the main roster. But things became a little shaky for them shortly after that. They had their huge win at Super Showdown in front of their hometown crowd, and followed that up with their title win at WrestleMania 35. So like we discussed in the past, and as strange as it sounds, everything for the IIconics started to go downhill after they won the tag team championships. Even as the reigning and defending champions, they were barely on television, and this had fans asking a lot of questions. So why were they off television while being the champions? We still don't really have the specific answer. Peyton Royce was in the process of having her wedding and her honeymoon around that same time, so WWE did grant her some time off. Peyton Royce taking that short time off left Billie Kay by herself, and WWE really couldn't build their next feud with just Billie alone. So that could have played a factor. Also, the IIconics vs. Bella Twins feud that was supposed to start on the Raw after WrestleMania was canceled at the very last second. That feud was something that WWE was prepping for months, but the Bellas had to pull out last second due to Nikki Bella's injury. So maybe that's why WWE really had nothing ready for the IIconics and their title reign. So after losing the titles, they vanished for a while. Then Peyton and Billie appeared on Raw in November 2019, but they haven't been seen since. Apparently the rumor shortly after that was that they were receiving a big makeover and being repackaged. We talked about how shifting the IIconics characters to a more serious and dark tone could be a great way to bring them back. But someone finally asked Peyton Royce about their return during a recent question and answer session. Peyton responded with a short video clip and had this to say: "You can tell your friend that the IIconics will be making a comeback. Can I tell you when? No, thanks for asking." So yeah, that answer isn't much to work with, but it does confirm a few things. We know that they will be coming back together as a team. It doesn't look like a breakup is coming anytime soon for the IIconics. Like one fan noted, Peyton and Billie is a package deal. They work so well together. They feed off each other's energy. So picturing them on their own in singles competition is pretty strange to think about. Other fans suggested that they probably lost momentum because the characters were a little over the top, goofy, and silly. Which could be true, but there was ways to work around it and find the right balance of goofy and dominant. Their debut is actually the perfect example of that. They made fun of Charlotte on the mic, but went right in and laid her out in the middle of the ring. So they had the perfect balance of goofy and dominant in that debut. So just to update everything on what we know right now, the IIconics will be staying together. A new look and being repackaged is a possible direction for them, and there is no time frame for their return. We could possibly see WWE air some teasers and hints leading up to their return, or they can just be a shock return and show up without any notice beforehand. Real quick, if you made it this far and enjoy what you see, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. A large percentage of our viewers aren't even subscribed, so take a second to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of the new daily videos. Let's get back into the story. So for today's second story, Vince McMahon recently did his usual first quarter investor call, and it was filled with a lot of great info on WWE's immediate future. So we'll be running through the highlights of this call and all the important things that came out of it. So let's get into that. First of all, regarding the WWE television tapings, Vince McMahon was asked about what their plans are if Florida decides to shut them down. Florida has stated that they view WWE as an essential entertainment business, so they have no issue with them at the moment. But the question was just asking if they had any backup plans, just in case. Vince McMahon said that they do have backup plans and that many states will welcome them if it came down to that. Mr. McMahon also stated that the Performance Center is constantly going through intense cleaning sessions with a lot of different products, just to make sure it stays clean. Everything from the Performance Center to the warehouses to the production trucks are all being cleaned with these products. When talking about having crowds and other live event shows, Mr. McMahon was a bit doubtful and had this to say: "I don't think we're going to be in the live event business like we were before. It will be a more content-oriented, not live events. It is a creative environment. That is the way I look at it." Mr. McMahon also promised more mini-movies and cinematic matches. Mr. McMahon went on to say that WWE will continue to do well in the near future. Mr. McMahon was also asked about the huge question that's on everyone's mind, and that's the live crowd. He was asked if they have any plans to move fans back into the Performance Center, and here's what Vince McMahon had to say. "Yes, we're looking at that. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's 6 feet apart and everyone is tested beforehand. If anyone can know how to do it, it's us." So that's another interesting thing to note there. Vince McMahon did say that WWE will likely be out of the live event business for a long time, and it won't be how it once was. But what he said right there could be an option. You could have a handful of fans at the Performance Center all spread out from each other, and this will be one way of bringing back the live crowds. The WWE content is great right now, but we're still missing that crucial element of the television shows, and that's the live crowd. So anything to bring some version of that back will be amazing. But of course, it has to be done in the safest way possible. Vince McMahon also commented on the Raw ratings that were continuing to go down and blamed it on the fact that fans aren't familiar with the new talent. He had this to say: "It suffered because we bring in a lot of new talent into Raw, and it takes a lot to get new talent over. We don't have Brock Lesnar any longer, and it takes a lot of time to get that new talent over." This is exactly true. Raw has had a lot of new talent and new faces showing up lately. Smackdown also has some new talent coming in, but lately it's starting to feel like Smackdown is the A+ show that you can't really miss, and Raw is falling into that B show title. SmackDown just has so many storylines going on right now, so Raw is going to have to pick up the pace to keep up with SmackDown. SmackDown is pretty untouchable right now in terms of just having more interesting content than Raw. But that's about it for all the highlights from Vince McMahon's call. Just wanted to go over those highlights and all the things I found pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.